There's been a myth around that has said that electric cars are okay for inner city commuters, people that are very close to town, close to work. Well, that used to be pretty true, but it is not anymore with the new longer range cars. And so I thought I would take out a day where I was doing some errands, quite a few errands actually, a couple 3 hours worth of them. So I live about 20 miles out of town. Okay, that means a lot of what I do, I have to go either in town or close to it. So I had some runs, partly freeway, partly stop and go, up and down hills, again some more freeway, just kind of round and round general type errands that you'd run. Now the temperature varied anywhere from 40 to 47 degrees. The heat was set at 72. Obviously this is fairly cold here, nothing special, but cold enough that you need the heat, and that's going to affect the range. The vehicle is charged up to 87%. Now, this vehicle has an option that you can charge it to 87% or you can charge it to 100%. I charged it to 87% because that's normally how I do this. And I'm going to explain this charging to a lower level than 100% in another video. But anyway, that's what I did. I did these runs around town, and let's take a look. I don't have video of everything I did during this day, simply because I run out of memory on the camera. But I'll give you a kind of an idea. We're going to run through these very quickly. You don't have to go with me while I did this. And then we'll look, at the end of this, we'll look at what we found, how much energy I used. Was I able to go an entire day? That sort of thing. So let's get with that, and we'll see what happens by the end of the day. Okay, at the end of this day of errands, I went 87 miles. It took 3.4 miles to use a kilowatt. I used a total of 25.8 kilowatts. And when I returned at the end of the day, I was showing 77 miles estimated on my range, which was about 45% of what I had charged it to. So, is this thing viable for someone who lives a ways out of town? I think it absolutely is. I think you could live another 10 miles out of town and still be able to do virtually any amount of running around you needed to do in a day, and still come back with enough miles that you weren't worried that you were going to run out. So this car, this Chevy Bolt, is 238 miles. I've talked to you before that the 238 is not really accurate if you're talking about highway speeds, and of course if you lose some for heating the car, if it's raining, if it's snowing, all these things affect range. I think I used 15% to heat the car today. 15% of the miles, or 15% of the kilowatts I used were for heating the vehicle. That's a seat heater, a steering wheel heater, and the just heater. So when I come back, I had used 5.8 kilowatts, and I still had about 45% left. So yeah, any myth out there is pretty much busted, at least by this car. In the very, very near future, we're going to have tons of cars coming up with 200 to 300 miles range. That seems to be the new goal for everything, and that makes the electric car virtually unbeatable, even for people that live ways out of town and have some distance to travel to do their daily business. So that myth is pretty much busted, at least for this type of use. That myth is totally busted. So how much did this little trip cost? Well, I have an energy meter inside the garage that determines how much energy I use whenever I charge this thing. Okay, I started out at 87% charge and I charged up to 87% once I got back. So the total number of kilowatts used was 29.3. If I multiply that out by my approximate cost of electricity here, which is 9 cents, I end up with $2.64. So that was the total cost for energy for that trip. That's it on this one.